understand and stay free and all that stuff. So that's where that started. And then as I got more obsessed, and I've always been obsessed with the process of art and what art does for a person and how it allows a person to grow, develop, learn a craft, all of these things. As I dedicated myself more to learning the craft of comics, I used Hutch as a chance to explore what I needed to learn and things like that. And that's eventually why it went into comic strips, was I felt like that was the next place I needed to go, was to understand that rhythm, the thing that I grew up reading, but also the quickness and the fast rhythm that I would have to use and understand would force me to create more ideas, it would force me to understand more about the characters that I already created. Like, I'd created them, but I didn't know as much about them as I could. And going into comic strips allowed me to investigate all the nooks and crannies of their personalities. And yeah, so that's sort of where it started from and why it's taken this particular trajectory, I think.
When you come up with characters, do you usually find that, do you just come up with them out of the blue, or are they somewhat based on people you know or experiences you've had?
No, they all differ. Sometimes you need a character for a particular role, and you say, okay, well, I need somebody to operate the computer systems. That was in one story I'm thinking of. And actually, that character was based loosely on somebody I knew. Just at the time, the only sort of like IT brainiac that I knew. But sometimes you just need somebody to serve a role, but hopefully and then you doodle around and you find like, oh, maybe that's probably what they would look like. And then hopefully as you dedicate some time to them on the page and in your sketchbooks and things, they develop into a real character and not just a role. I actually don't base that many characters on real people. I have, actually, the more I think about it, the more I realize, like, yeah, there were some, every once in a while, you're sitting in some interaction you're having and you think, this is crazy. I just gotta make a comic out of you at some point.
Well, even like little ideas like you said, Hutch Owen pretty much stemmed to something your mother said. Has that ever, even like a small little occurrence like that in just a conversation with someone, do you just come up with a character, or does it lead to something bigger, like Hutch Owen?
I mean, it can, yeah. I don't invent characters that frequently. When I was working on the longer stories, often I would invent a character or two. And then when I was working on the strips, it's rare that I would, maybe every couple of months I would add a character to the sort of roster. But what I was doing is taking in whatever I was experiencing and turning it into some sort of idea to explore for 6 or 7 strips or 5 strips, and so that happens a lot. And I'll definitely take from, for instance, I haven't been thinking about it right now, but this might be a great situation to sort of consider folding into the comic, like, oh, the interview. And I don't think I would use one of you guys as characters yet, because you haven't been too funny yet.
Thank you.
No, all right, let's say you haven't been too ridiculous yet.
All
right. And sometimes, but the situation is really interesting to me, and I, everybody's artistic temperament is different, and some people really respond to funny people they notice, and some people are very satirical and they want to make fun of other people, and other artists might have very profound experience in certain situations, and they want to explore the situation more than they want to explore the other characters. And so, I don't know, I think I've always gone more that route where the situations are funny, the details of the events are funny, and the characters are important, but they sort of build from the situation rather than vice versa. Again, doing the comic strip allowed me to